This is a short video on using Claude Code and creating an AI news summary tool. Stick around till the end to learn more about Claude Code compares to other tools.
In this video, I'm going to demonstrate Claude Code, and I'm going to show an example application. Really quick, I'm going to show how to get Claude Code running on your Mac, and then two, I'm going to build an app and show you what I learned here quickly using it. First thing you need to do is make sure you have Node on your computer. If you don't, I encourage you to use brew, so you would do something like brew install Node.js. Make sure you have brew installed, but it's a great way to get things going. If you're going to be using Python, you want to make sure you have Python installed as well. Python 3 dash capital B. There we go. So you need those two things. Then you're just going to run this npm install. It's going to run and install Claude Code. I already have it installed, so it ran that quickly. Now, I like to use, most Claude is done inside of Terminal, but I like to do that inside of Visual Studio. So right here, I'm actually in a terminal running Claude on the system. And so I'm going to run you through an app I built. So first, let's just take a look at some of the commands you can do in Claude. You can see right here it is slash, and it shows kind of the information available. You initialize your project to start with, and it mentions in this Claude.md. So I've created an app. Let's go take a look at Claude.me here. And my app is called the Claude AI News Summary Tool. I wanted to build a website that aggregates top AI related news across the web. It's going to distill them into a concise list. And then the tool should help us catch up on trends, analyze the ecosystem, meaning, is it a trend? Is it not a trend? And then I want it to be able to help me create a blog post or a social media post, right? So the idea is give me a list of all the news articles out there, summarize them, give them some ranking, and then let me pick what I want to create a post for, click on it, and it will generate a post for me. I think I spent about 30 minutes. I used this as the guide. So I said, AI news aggregator, look for some news. I put a couple different places I wanted to grab from really quick. I made it so it's extendable. Right now I'm using RSS, and I've got it where it can actually scrape APIs. I want it to summarize, so I'm going to use OpenAI. It's going to summarize each article in a couple sentences, and then it's going to categorize them by popularity, sentiment, and then type. And then after that, it's going to do a list of those articles, and then it's going to give me a viewer to actually do the summary. And lastly, it's going to help me generate the post. Now, I've made it all the way to number 4 here, like I said, in about 30 plus minutes, using just this input and then working through a series of things. If I went back in my history, I'm not actually sure how I do that in here. If I went back through my history, I asked, well, actually, what? I'm going to ask it to view my to-do list. So show me my to-do list. One of the things that Claude does when it's building out is it makes a to-do list of what it heard you say, what it's going to do, and then what it executed. So in this case, let's go take a look at mine. I'm going to see if I can make this larger and easier for viewing. All right, hopefully that's a little bit bigger. So I said, show me my to-do list, and here's what it did. It updated the styling to match the Augusto digital style. It implemented a news aggregator. It set up the news API integration to fetch new articles. It implemented an advanced ranking and scoring system. It added the trend score, and I'll show you that. It created a news date type and interface, and it implemented a summary page using OpenAI and Claude. In addition, it added some scoring metrics, and then it did some trending indicators for the main feed. Now, it shows a second way here of kind of where it strikes it out. It did the styling, and then lastly, it's going to start asking me questions about the product status, like I've got multi-news aggregators in here and things that I've changed around. Right here, it looks like and by doing this, it told me you spent $5 on Anthropic API this session. Um, that's not bad. That's what I've spent so far to build this app. So before I go any further, let's go take a look at the app. And you can see here it's Generali's code. I will bring it up and we can walk through it really quick. So before I run it, it's going to run a local host. Let me go to a terminal and I'm going to be running npm build dev here. There we go. So we're starting it up and it's running on port 3000. Let's just refresh. Now, a couple things to keep in mind as we do this. There's enhancements we're probably going to make. Let me turn off the debugger here. So first, you see the page load. I told it I wanted to look and feel of Augusto Digital. This is what it brought back. It made its own headline. We're staying ahead of the AI innovation. Tells me when it was last updated, and it found 40 stories. It's going to give me a listing of 10. So it's got a trending score, like how popular is it? What sites is it being shown on? Is this data somewhere else? Notice the trend score here is different. I think I need to get these two to align. Engagement, there's been 100 people engaged in it, and it's got a coverage of a 20. Now, when I asked it to build out a ranking, it did 35% across the board for each one of these things, and it's doing a summary. So here's just a list of articles. You can say OpenAI pulls a promotional materials on John Amy due to the court order. And right down here is kind of the summary. And again, it's got a different engagement score. You know, is it as popular or not as popular? And it's got some tags out there. Again, all of this is around AI. I think we've got some work to do to maybe define what these mean, but it is doing its own ranking. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. First, we're going to go and just click on the AI summary. This is where now it grabbed a list. Now it's summarizing the article. So it gave me a score, some metrics like growth mentions over time, social signals and authority, and then the number of sources covering this is about 20. And so here's its summary. And it actually tells me what it used. It's not bad. And then I can again go back to the homepage or read the full article. My next step on this is I would like to take advantage of this article and generate social posts. So the system hasn't done that yet. So let's take a look how Claude works and how we can do that. Now, my original Claude, um, let's go to the file. My original Claude file, I told it here at the bottom that I wanted it to generate content based on the selected story, an LinkedIn post, a blog outline, and maybe a Twitter thread. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this. We're going to go back down to the terminal, and we're going to tell Claude what we want. And again, terminal based. So let's go. I would like to implement. All right, so here I'd like to implement the content generation feature. Let's have a few options on the summary page to generate the following. A blog post with the title and overview, some content and image. I probably should put the original link in there, I suppose. Link to story. And then LinkedIn post based on the article summary, adding some relevance to AugustoDigital.com and using my voice as the CTO. And then a Twitter post that is quick, with a summary and a smart and witty thoughts on an image. So let's go ahead and have him do this.
So, funny story. I was all set to finish this demo until Claude Code tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You're out of credits, buddy." That's right. Between this project and another app I'm building, I officially hit my usage limit. Claude's on vacation. But that pause gave me a good excuse to compare Claude Code to some of the other tools in this space. Claude Code feels closer to Cursor, very structured, very competent, and surprisingly good at handling big context and multi-step reasoning. It's not flashy, but it's consistent. Tools like Lovable, Dev, and Bolt.new are a different vibe. They're more like windsurf, casual, idea-driven, and fun to explore with. They lean more into the creative code playground side of things. Great for quick prototypes, UI first thinking, and testing ideas without needing full stack precision. So if you're building something complex and need a calm, high context copilot, Claude Code is solid. If you're brainstorming, iterating quickly, or just want to play with ideas, Lovable and Bolt feel more fluid and fast. That's it for now. Claude's resting, and so am I. Catch you in the next one.